Aloha, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to another week of Trauma Recovery University. I am your host, Athena Moberg, and with us, of course, in the green room is your incredible co-host and my esteemed colleague, Bobby Parrish. We come here every week, and we do live Q&A for you, the community of adult survivors of childhood abuse, specifically childhood sexual abuse. So if that is you, you are in the right place. I want to say a very special thank you to our Roku family. Thank you for all of the 5-star ratings. You guys are incredible. And thank you to our growing YouTube community. I was looking at the YouTube analytics today, and I'm still needing to go back and look at it because if I'm reading it correctly, we're in like over 100 countries, and
Wow.
we're reaching you, and you're actually watching minutes and hours long in over 100 countries. And so I want to make sure that that number is accurate before I get all super excited and do my happy dance. But I'm just humbled. Bobby and I both are very humbled that you are here spending this hour of your evening or your day with us whenever it is that you're tuning in. So as a thank you for being a listener or a viewer or a subscriber or just you, the awesome survivor who stumbled upon us, we want to say thank you in a practical way and give you complimentary access to tonight's downloadable, printable PDF resource. You can get access to that by going to one of our websites, either traumarecoveryuniversity.com or nomoreshameproject.com. You will see at the top a tab that says downloadables. If you click that, you'll be asked for your email. You'll be given immediate access to tonight's downloadable one-page resource in addition to our entire library. You will look at the very top if it's anywhere near August 1st of 2016, and you will see tonight's topic, which is aha moments and light bulb moments that keep us going in our recovery journey. So this topic is so encouraging. These aha moments and these light bulb moments are the ones that are, as we're going to mention later on in our one page, they are like that missing puzzle piece that helps you realize what the whole picture looks like. It's those moments that propel us forward. They're a catalyst for change and for transformation in our lives. And we had an amazing Twitter chat conversation with our huge community and following in the UK this morning. And they shared with us a whole bunch of their light bulb moments. And then just over the past 2 years, Bobby and I, with our private clients and in our global community as a whole, people have shared their light bulb moments and their aha moments along the way. And we are going to share some of those with you tonight because as we have found out, some of our hugest moments in our recovery journey that are the most encouraging or that uncover that one layer that we just needed to feel like we finally see the whole picture, those moments happen when we hear someone else share something that happened on their journey. It's such a collaborative community effort, this recovery journey of ours, and it helps us to heal at an exponential rate, and that is the reason why Bobby and I started this channel. That's why we started this project, because our recoveries were so long and we want to change that for you. So once again, if you are finding us anywhere but on Roku TV or on YouTube, head on over there and find us there. And if you're listening on a podcast platform and you're not viewing us, if you're on iTunes or Stitcher or any of those podcast platforms, please head on over and find us on any Roku device or on YouTube by searching for Trauma Recovery University. Thank you so much for being here. We are honored. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to turn this over to my business partner, Bobby Parrish, who will update us on some exciting things going on in the global community of survivors that we serve and how that pertains to you. And we'll also give you some valuable resources that you can jot down if you happen to be triggered during this broadcast or you just need some help locally where you live. Take it away, Bobby.
Thanks, Athena. Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you. I want to issue a trigger warning for tonight's broadcast. This information that we share, we're talking about abuse, childhood abuse, can be very triggering. And so if you feel triggered, we want to encourage you to just shut the video down, turn off the podcast, whatever you need to do, and put it away. Walk away from it. Maybe later you can want to listen to the recording. If you're here with us live, the YouTube video will be up within a matter of hours, and you can watch the rest of it then if you'd like. And maybe you just don't want to watch the rest of it. Maybe it's not the right time, too triggering right now at this point in your recovery, and that's okay. If you are in crisis, we have some numbers and resources for you, but we do ask that if you're in crisis, you not seek help on the Twitter stream with the chat with the hashtag No More Shame, because it triggers other people to see those who are in crisis. We absolutely encourage that you get help, that you reach out, even on Twitter. We just ask that you not do it on the No More Shame hashtag. There we go. I wanted to put hashtag and chat together and came up with hatch, which I knew wasn't right. If you are in the United States, you can reach out to our friends at RAIN. That is the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. And they have a toll-free number for Canada and the United States, and that's 1-800-656-HOPE, HOPE. They also have a 24-hour crisis chat line, excuse me, on their website, and that is RAIN, RAINN.org. If you are in the UK, you can reach out to the Samaritans. They have a toll-free number at 116-123. You can also reach them via text at 0775-909090. You can also get support from them via email, and you can reach out to Joe, that's J-O, at samaritans.org. If you're in the Australian community, our growing Australian community, you can reach out to your national hotline if you need help in a crisis or you just need some resources, and their number is 131114. So we hope that if you are in a crisis, that you'll reach out and you'll get help, because you're worth it and you're valuable, and there is so much hope. Athena was talking about community, and in the last week I have found so much research that talks about, actual scientific research that talks about how that connection between people, that honest, non-judgmental, authentic connection between people is one of the most powerful elements of healing. And they've even started to understand that it can be the difference between an easier recovery and a harder recovery, and not just from trauma, but even in fields like addiction to drug and alcohol. That ability, that chance to connect with another human being in an authentic, non-judgmental way is very healing. And I think it's one of the most wonderful things that Athena and I do is provide survivors with the opportunity to connect with one another. So if you're new here to this broadcast channel or to this podcast, stick with us until the end, and we'll share with you how to connect with other survivors in our private secret Facebook groups. And we'll also talk about our other Twitter chats, because it truly is a magical, powerful thing to connect with someone who gets it on the very deepest level, what you've gone through, and who can help you on your recovery journey, because they've been there too. And we would love to meet all of you in person this coming November, the 11th through the 13th in Orlando, for our very first Trauma Recovery University live conference. We have amazing speakers lined up. We have amazing workshops. We have art therapy. We're going to have an art room. We're going to have photo booths. We're going to have fun, good food, community, and we really would love to meet every single one of you. You can get information about the conference at traumarecoveryuniversitylive.com. And right now, we're doing early bird registration. And for survivors, it's only $197 for all 3 days of activities and food. And so pop on over there and check it out. We would love to have you there. We're looking forward to meeting as many of you as possible in person. And again, sharing that connection and helping one another on our recovery journey. So we are, as you can see, you may have noticed if you don't watch this video broadcast, that when the other one of us is not speaking, our heads are down looking at our phones. And that's because we're watching the Twitter stream. We're not watching YouTube videos or answering our Facebook messages while we're here online with you. We're interacting with people on the Twitter stream. And we have asked people specifically to come tonight and share their light bulb moments, the moments when they have been able to put a huge puzzle piece into place that helps them to come to understand their recovery and see it in a new light and make progress in their recovery that they hadn't been able to before. As Athena talked about, we always use the metaphor of a jigsaw puzzle. So, but of course, it's like giving us a jigsaw puzzle we have to solve, but you don't get the box. You know, when I used to do jigsaw puzzles when I was a kid, I would tilt the box up on its end and set it there so I could see the picture as I was putting together the puzzle. But in recovery, you don't get the picture. All you get are the puzzle pieces, and you have to try and figure out how to put it together. And for some of us, there are sections we just cannot figure out. They don't make any sense to us. We don't have any clues. We don't have a hint until all of a sudden we hear someone say something, we read something, something just clicks into place. And as Athena mentioned this morning, we had our Twitter chat with our UK audience, and they were just there sharing like crazy about their light bulb moments and the things that really were pivot points in their recovery, so that they could put that puzzle piece into place and go, oh, okay, I didn't know that was supposed to be here. Now I know. I can fill in the rest of the pieces. I've got another chunk done. And now I know, and I can move on to the next piece. So we're so excited. If you're watching us live and you have a Twitter account, jump on and share us your light bulb moments with the hashtag No More Shame. So Athena, how are things going?
Oh, it's going really good. I wanted to share with you guys that first I wanted to welcome Sidra. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Sidra. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Sidra, let me just add my hashtag here, and of course it's not going to fill it in for me while I'm sitting here trying to talk.
Yes, right, exactly. Right? While we're trying to multitask.
Okay, so Sidra, one of our Twitter followers, part of our Twitter family, Sidra says, light bulb moment. The severe anxiety I had experienced at one point in my life was actually a nervous breakdown. Once we can put kind of a name to it or pinpoint what it is that actually happened for us, for some reason it relieves us or lifts a burden of this question mark over our head. We are puzzle figure outers. That's what we are as humans. We want to figure out the puzzle. We want to put all the puzzle pieces together. And that's the best way for us to explain to you and share with you what is going through our minds and in our hearts and in our bodies when we are struggling or we're feeling overwhelmed or anxious. And Sidra, that is a huge realization. I had a similar realization myself when I didn't share this morning because I've been doing a lot of thinking throughout today, and I wanted to share some fresh things with you guys about some light bulb moments, but it's connected to what you said, Sidra, and that is when I started studying trauma, specifically childhood trauma, and even more specifically when I started working directly with Bobby on this project 2 years ago. And I started realizing the cumulative nature of trauma, and especially grief and complicated grief as it pertains to grieving intangibles, such as you're not grieving the loss of like a loved one, a person who died and you saw like they're dead and you buried them and they're gone. Like I was grieving my innocence. I was grieving a childhood that I never had. I was grieving a fantasy relationship with my loved ones that I thought I had or would come to pass. And I was overcome by that grief. And it was at that particular portion of my grief was triggered by a traumatic event in my adulthood, specifically about 3 years ago. So a few years back, my son, many of you know this, he deployed. He was active duty Marine Corps, and he deployed to another country during a time of war. And he wasn't supposed to deploy. That wasn't part of the plan. I thought that when he became a Mandarin linguist and the war we were fighting was in the Middle East, that what the Marine Corps had said and what I had deduced, which was Mandarin, China, not Middle East, not deploying in the war. It's a rational deduction of reasoning. For me to reason that made sense.
Right. It did. It does.
It makes complete sense, even saying it out loud. Thank you, Bobby. I needed that. But then when he deployed, I felt like the rug got ripped out from underneath me. And anyone watching this channel knows what it feels like to have the rug ripped out from underneath you. Because when you are an adult survivor of childhood abuse, and that is childhood sexual abuse, physical abuse, verbal, emotional, ritual abuse, religious abuse, financial abuse, neglect, any type of abuse, especially if you come from a home where there were addictive behaviors or there was addiction, like substance abuse or any type of addiction, whether it was porn or gambling or anything, there's a lack of emotional availability going on in your home, and you never know on any given day when the rug is going to get ripped out from underneath you. When is the last shoe? When is the shoe going to drop? When is shit going to start flying across the room? When is the phone going to get yanked out of the wall? When is so-and-so going to stop talking to so-and-so? When is so-and-so going to come and hurt me in my room or bully me or make fun of me? Or when is, I mean, especially when, like, just for many of us, like, things that are constant in a lot of people's lives, like there's always food, it's healthy food, there's always communication, it's healthy communication. Like that happens in families. I've seen it firsthand, like with my own two eyes as an adult. But when you're a child and those things are not present, the rug, it feels like the rug's getting ripped out from underneath you, because just when you think everything's just like settling to be like kind of like a normal day, boom, the floor drops out and you're like, oh great, here we go again. It starts the cycle all over again. And that's how I felt when my son deployed. And I thought that was what my anxiety was about and what I was so upset about and what was causing me such emotional duress. And what I didn't realize is that the hallucinations I started hearing, and the 2 times I had visual hallucinations, and the severe anxiety and the severe constant fear and the night terrors and the anxiety attacks and all of the like tick, 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 ticks, go down the list of every single thing, all of the symptoms I was experiencing, those were not just me like just being a crazy person. Like, oh great, now I'm schizophrenic. Oh great, now I'm this. Oh great. And I was trying to label myself with something, and there's such a stigma attached to anything mental health related, which is why Bobby and I love doing this particular broadcast, because we want to reduce the stigma of anything mental health related, especially for people who have lived through extenuating circumstances and are reaping the consequences, and we're living with the repercussions of other people's poor choices, such as abuse. So I thought that I was losing it because my son deployed, and I couldn't understand why one moment in time was causing this entire breakdown of my world as I knew it. And I thought, something is wrong with me. Like, I must, like, what did I do? I must have done something. Like, this can't be it. And all of a sudden, I started having all these other memories. At the same time, I got an email from my uncle who abused me when I was 5. At the same time, I had these memories of my childhood of being like taken out to different like drug houses and like nail salons, and going out and visiting these weird P.O. boxes where we would get gifts and money from different men, and I had to be quiet and I had to lie about it. And the envelopes were always opened, and of course there was a little something in there for me, and you know, like it, whatever. It was like anyway, I was given gifts, they were stolen. Who knows? They were probably stolen for drug money. I mean, who knows? All this stuff. Like, I started having vivid memories. Vivid memories of car rides. Vivid memories of being taken to the dentist like every week for 11 years or something. Who goes to the dentist every week for 11 years? And who meets up with their dentist at Chuck E. Cheese? Probably someone who shouldn't be meeting up with their dentist every week, especially at Chuck E. Cheese. So the reality of my world as I knew it, and all of that compounded on top of one another, like, whoa, is my dentist a pedophile? Wait a second. Like, so-and-so was involved in that. Wait a second. But she took me here, but she bought me this outfit. But wait a second, I thought she was good, but maybe she wasn't. But then did my dad know about it? My dad knew about all this. I was telling him this, and he always brought me back. Why didn't he protect me? And I had all these things, all these layers, you guys. Is it a wonder I lost my shit? I mean, no wonder I'm standing in my kitchen hearing voices. All this stuff is a lot to take on at one time, because guess what? The cumulative nature of trauma clearly dictates that I cannot slice off a pretty little piece of pie with the name "my son deployed" and just deal with that little piece of trauma and go, okay, my son deployed. Well, he's not in the Middle East. Chances are he won't see active combat. He's probably going to be doing some things that I don't want to know about, but he'll come back, and I'll deal with that when it's time for me to deal with that. Maybe I should call his wife, my daughter-in-law. I'm sure she's probably struggling as well. And so I wasn't able to slice off that one little pretty piece of trauma of like my son deploying and dealing with that at once. I wasn't able to slice off one little piece of how I got like traipsed around like a little Barbie doll and taken places and sort of pimped out. And like, I wasn't able to just deal with that one thing. I wasn't able to deal with just my dad knowing about everything, but always taking me back anyway. I wasn't able to deal with all the stuff, the memories, why were drugs more important than me? And why didn't we have food? And like, I wasn't able to deal with one thing at a flippin' time. And if I could have dealt with one thing at a time, perhaps I wouldn't have had hallucinations in my kitchen. Bobby, don't you think I might have not had hallucinations in my kitchen had trauma not been so darn stubborn and just allowed me to process some stuff one at a time? I mean, come on.
Yes. Wouldn't that have been a nice luxury?
Oh, yeah. It'd also be nice if I could fart rainbows and I could have a unicorn as a pet and eat ice cream every day and never gain a pound. I mean, you know, why don't I just get over it and just super fast heal? Like quick. Now, I'm all done. I'm done healing. Yay, I'm all better. I figured it out. I've arrived. Like, it's all so imaginary, you guys. So that light bulb moment for me was huge. Knowing that there was like, oh, trauma is cumulative? You mean my brain can't process years of trauma all at once and still be okay? Oh, that makes sense. And that was just a huge weight off my shoulder. And it caused me to want to dig so much deeper into the nature of trauma, especially as it pertains to trauma in the brain and neuroplasticity and neurobiology. And we have at our conference coming up in November, we have the neurological, Bobby, what's the title of the talk? Because I always get the title of the talk wrong. The neurobiological.
Of how anxiety and trauma come together and what causes anxiety to result from trauma.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about that talk. I will be present during that talk.
Jody Amen, the lovely Jody Amen will be presenting that talk. So we're so excited to have her at the conference. She's
Yeah.
lovely.
She's amazing. I'm very excited. So that's just one light bulb moment that I had when I realized that trauma was cumulative and what exactly that meant for me in my recovery journey. You guys shared so many light bulb moments this morning and how they affected you and your recovery journey. Like just the simple realization that our childhood sexual abuse was not our fault.
Yep.
I mean, that's huge. Or taking into consideration the fact that we were 3, 4, 5 years old. Like, look in the grocery store at an innocent, sweet little 3 or 4 or 5-year-old. And you wouldn't expect them to be able to, in an adult way, rationalize and assess a situation and go, let's see, being sexually abused wouldn't be prudent at this juncture. I mean, no, we're not going to be able to do that when we're 3, 4, or 5 years old. So just seeing things with a whole different perspective, the light bulb moments, the aha moments that we have, those like, oh my gosh, that has been staring at me in the face for the last few years. And it's almost like common sense, but it relieves a huge amount of pressure from me. And it's helping me to be able to process life differently. So, Bobby, I would love for you to share if there's anyone on the Twitter stream. I know that Sarah Unfaker, I hope I said it right, said that she has never even had a light bulb moment that she knows of. And so tonight is the night. This is the night. I'm claiming it for her. Like she's going to have some light bulb moments tonight, I'm hoping. But I would love for you to share anybody's light bulb moments on the Twitter feed or your own. That would be amazing.
I would love to do that. But first, before anything else, I would like to share my surprise guest for this evening.
Oh, absolutely.
So I just want to welcome my surprise guest who will come over here and put her face in the camera, please. All of you know her from our Twitter community and some of our support groups. The lovely Sarah Warnes from the United Kingdom has come all the way to visit me. Hello.
Hello, Sarah. We love you. We're so happy to see you.
Which unfortunately she didn't hear that, but she said that we love you and we're so happy to see you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, people are sharing their light bulb moments. I think for me, the most incredible light bulb moment I ever had was when I discovered complex PTSD. And I read through the symptoms and I went, oh my gosh, that's me. And until that time, I think I had labeled a lot of the after effects of my abuse as personal weaknesses, that there was something wrong with me because I couldn't always focus. I couldn't always multitask. I couldn't always stay organized. And as I've talked about before, I wasn't on this incredible career track because I had to stop to take time out to go through recovery. My depression was so severe that I was in and out of the hospital. My PTSD was so severe that I wasn't doing really well at coping career-wise. But then when I finally read the symptoms of complex PTSD, it removed that huge weight on my shoulders, that there was something, that this was my fault. This is a personal weakness. This was a character flaw. And that's not true. Everything that I had struggled with, everything that I had tried so hard to mentally and emotionally beat out of myself was an after effect of my abuse. And it wasn't my fault. And it's still not my fault. And I have worked in my recovery so hard. I think another big light bulb moment for me is that my abuse will never be completely out of my life. Will it have all the power in my life? No. Will it be the central focus of my life? No. But for me to expect that I'm going to be able to work hard enough on my recovery that I will never, ever have an issue again the rest of my life is unrealistic, and it's okay. It doesn't mean I failed. It doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong. It's just that the nature of my abuse and the after effects were such that they can't be swept from my life without leaving behind any remain. And that's okay. It's not my fault. Doesn't mean I'm not doing the right thing. So I think, yeah, lots of sometimes real small things and sometimes huge things that give you that relief of taking something off your shoulders that you had struggled with for so long, or that your abuser had groomed you to believe, that it was your fault, that you were to blame, that somehow at 3 or 4 years old you had caused an adult to abuse you, that was your fault, that was your responsibility. When we can grasp those things and let go of that blame and that shame and that guilt, amazing things can happen in our recovery. And my hope is that as we share this information with all of you, that you can start letting go of those toxic things too. So a lot of people are sharing on the Twitter stream. Yes, learning about PTSD was so important. Learning, August says, I'm not responsible for other people's emotions and reactions.
That's a huge one.
That is a huge one.
Boundaries,
because we were raised to believe that we were responsible. I mean, I was raised to believe that I was responsible for the well-being of my entire family. And if someone wasn't happy, it was my fault.
I was raised the same way. I was raised that if I didn't behave perfectly at all times, regardless of my circumstances, that I was bad. And Maggie said, kids are not bad kids if they're not behaving like perfectly. Like, that was so huge for me. Also, Maggie, because so often, Bobby, were you expected to behave perfectly? I mean, I know you went to Catholic school with nuns. I mean,
yeah, perfection was the standard. And anything less than that wasn't acceptable. And of course, I couldn't be perfect, so therefore I was never acceptable.
Yes, that. I mean, I would love for everybody who relates to that to tweet out, like, perfection, like something. Let us know that you relate to that. You were expected to be perfect. Use the hashtag no more shame. Because so many of us, that was the standard in our lives, you guys. We were constantly chasing after perfect. There was perfect. It was this carrot that was dangling in front of us, and we were chasing it constantly. We were chasing this carrot named perfect, and we could never get it. It was just dangled over our heads, and we were never going to be able to get there. It was always just right out of our reach. We were always just trying to grab it, and we were never going to be able to grab it. People would just, oh, ha 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 ha. And it's the weird mind screw of it all is that perfection is a unicorn. Perfection is imaginary. There is no such thing as perfect. Like, no one is perfect. There just is. We find people in our lives that, like, our spouses or our partners, that are perfect for us, but no one is perfect. We are not perfect. And like Brene Brown, love her. Brene Brown, one of her famous quotes is, "Where perfectionism lies, shame is always lurking." Did I say it right, Bobby? Did I nail it?
I'm not sure you nailed it exactly, but 99.9%.
Yes.
And very true.
Yeah, like
that's what shame drives us to do.
Well, yeah, we have to question ourselves if we're perfect, and people sort of wear perfectionism like a crown. Oh, I'm just a perfectionist. That's why I take a while to do that, or that's why I'm always late, or that's why this is happening. I'm just a perfectionist. And they think that it's great. But we have to ask ourselves, we have to challenge ourselves, you guys. Challenge ourselves. If we really want to be learning and growing at all times, so that we're always learning and always growing, because we never arrive, ask yourself, challenge yourself. What am I trying to be perfect at? And why am I obsessed with being perfect? What am I ashamed of? What am I afraid someone is going to find out about me? Why am
Yeah.
I trying to look perfect? Why am I trying to attain a perfect figure? Why do I want my house perfect? Why do I need my writing to be perfect? Why do I need my makeup to be perfect? Why do I have to drive perfect? Why do I have to fill in the blank? Why do I have to cook every meal perfectly? Why do I always have to have the laundry always done on Wednesdays and dinner on the table at 5:30? And why do I always have to have the lawn mowed every Friday? And why do my children always have to be to school 5 minutes early? And like, who are we putting those expectations on? And what are we modeling for other people? Are we modeling perfection, which is a unicorn and it will never be attainable ever? Or are we modeling excellence? Like, I might not always have the laundry done on Wednesdays and dinner might not always be on the table at 5:30, but I'm doing the best I can, and darn it, that's good enough because I'm awesome.
Yeah, that's always what I tell my son is that's the standard. Did you do the best you could? Okay, good enough then.
Yeah.
Because that's all that any of us can ever be asked to do is the best that we could. But when you're a child, you crave that approval, especially from your parents. And when you don't get it, you are striving for perfection because you're still trying. You think, if only I'm perfect. If only I'm perfect, they will finally love me. If only I were perfect, they would finally approve of me. And when we can't get that as a child, we take that perfectionism into adulthood. And we think, okay, if I'm the perfect employee, my boss will approve of me. My spouse will approve of me. But like you said, it's chasing rainbows because it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that people won't approve of us, and that doesn't mean that people won't love us.
No.
So
I think that's why, Bobby, like, I love that we show up here every week, no matter what, even if we're not feeling all that fantastic or particularly fabulous and lovely. Like, I mean, there have been days when I've been moments after a complete meltdown or anxiety attack, and I show up in the green room with Bobby with minutes to spare, being like, okay, let's do this. And I show up, even if I'm not particularly doing okay, I'll show up because I know that you guys are going to accept me. You guys are going to accept me just as I am, quirks and all. And to be 100% honest, I feel a sense of community and love and acceptance and compassion and just everything's right in the world when I'm here with you guys on Mondays. This is my favorite place to be. That's why I'm so looking forward to November in Orlando, Florida. You guys, November 11th through the 13th, we are going to be able to do this live in person. And we're going to be able to hang out and actually commune in person and not just on Twitter and on YouTube and or Facebook. I'm super excited for this in real life get together that we are facilitating. And but this is the second best thing. This is the next best thing. And Bobby and I have talked about this a lot off the air, and we never want to model behaviors for you guys that are unsustainable and unhealthy. And we will be the first to tell you, as often as you ask, and even when you don't ask, that we don't have it all figured out. We are healing right alongside you. We will always be healing until we move on to heaven. We will be healing. We're not going to ever just arrive and be like, psh, got that whole recovery thing nailed. We're healing right alongside you. We're just several, I don't know, we have 30 years between us, Bobby, 30 years recovery.
Yeah.
We're a little bit ahead of you, but not by far, because we show up to give you all of the stuff we learned in our recovery so that you guys can heal much, 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 much faster. So, but we don't ever want to model behaviors for you that are unsustainable and unhealthy. So if you're not feeling particularly lovely and you don't want to show up, don't show up. But if you find that you feel a wonderful sense of community and acceptance and love, and like that's something that's been missing, and you receive that when you hang out or you just log on to our YouTube channel on some random Thursday at 3 a.m, take the best and leave the rest. I forget if that's like a 12-step quote or something, but this is just here for you to learn from and to glean from. And this community is so giving and so supportive. And the light bulb moments that have been shared with every single person that we've come in contact with, whether it's just learning patience or learning that our status of our mental health does not define us, or we're not responsible for other people's emotions and reactions. What are some of the other ones, Bobby? I would love to hear more light bulb moments from our community. I just wanted you guys to know, like, we show up regardless, even if we're not feeling particularly lovely, and that doesn't mean you need to, but just know that your best is always good enough here with us. Like, period. You are enough. You're enough. Just as you are. You are enough.
A lot of people are talking about that issue of perfectionism, and how, it's an illusion, that they always feel inadequate. August is talking about she believed that if she was perfect, that she would be safe because no one would be upset with her. Lindy is talking about, I was responsible for my mother's emotional well-being, which is too much for a child to handle. Absolutely. Way too much for a child to handle. Laura shared a wonderful meme that says, my biggest fear is that eventually you will see me the way I see myself. Which is, yeah. I thought that was fantastic.
I resonate with that so much.
Yes. We're next to our abuser. We're probably, they were obviously horrific to us, but sometimes we can be pretty hard on ourselves. And it's the most amazing thing when you realize that, guess what? You don't have to be perfect. You're lovable. And the way you are, just as you are, is lovable and worthy. And you don't have to change a thing. You can if you want to, but you don't have to change anything to be lovable.
Yeah. Hey, you don't have to change anything to be lovable. We love you just as you are. We love each and every one of you just as you are. We love your voice. We love your presence. We love you for just being you. You don't have to do anything. I was telling one of my clients today, I'm gently and not so gently reminding you that I am your coach, and I need you to do nothing. I need you to give yourself permission to do nothing. Just be. Just be. You don't have to strive. You just rest. Just be. And that is a challenge for survivors, you guys, for us to just be, because we were never allowed to just be. We always had to be meeting someone's expectations. There were always spoken and often those really huge unspoken expectations that were placed upon us when we were younger. And those are the killers, because it's an imaginary ghost that's chasing you that you'll never be able to get away from. Those unspoken expectations of others that just play in our heads over and over and over again, and we're just trying to outrun them. We're trying to get away from them, and they're just always right there like our shadow. And I just want to encourage you that it's okay to just ignore it. Just ignore it.
Yes.
Those unmet and unrealistic and unspoken expectations are not something that will ever matter in this space and time. You are enough just as you are, and you deserve to just be. Just be. Don't do anything. You don't have to do anything to earn anyone's approval here.
Right.
You can just be. Jody Ortega says, my light bulb moment was when I started to read more about neuroscience, the effect the brain goes through in childhood sexual abuse. What were you going to say, Bobby?
I was going to share what I just lost it, went right out of my head.
Aisha? Aisha. Aisha says, don't do what I did for 40 plus years. I tried to forget it until it almost killed me. Amen, sister. I tried to forget everything too, and I tried to just deal with it or put it behind me. Bobby, when it comes back in your head, just interrupt me and I'll just be quiet. So that you can say, so you're like, oh, I got it. And that way I'll stop talking. But I was, the other day, you guys, I just decided that since I had been working so many really, really, really long days in a row, and that I hadn't taken like a day off, like OFF off completely, which I didn't end up taking the whole day off. I ended up working. But I took several hours in a row off, and I drove to the other side of the island, and I met up with two girlfriends separately. And I was sharing with one of them that one of the things that has been most transformational for me was when I did realize that I was chasing after this whole perceived version of myself, because my family, they didn't like me. They made it very clear. They told me over and over and over again that they didn't like me. And whether it was my aunts or my uncles or whatever, they complained about me. I was annoying. I talked too loud. I talked too much. Why was I around? I was around too much. I was not welcome. How come you didn't send a thank you card? You're so ungrateful. You should just be grateful. You don't do the dishes. You don't do this. You don't help. You don't whatever. You're so this. You're a horrible daughter. Your dad would do anything for you and you're so ungrateful. This and that. You should just be grateful. You're so lucky. You don't know how good you have it. I mean, these are all the messages that were flying at me from my family. And I was just this shitty kid that nobody liked. I mean, literally nobody liked me. I was a band geek. I had very few friends. And I wasn't proud of who I was. I felt like I had this big, like huge, like L on my forehead. Like I was just this huge loser, and that everybody knew that I was being abused. And I couldn't put enough makeup on or dress cute enough or act normal enough. And I told this friend of mine the other day when I was sitting with her, I said, you know, the real transformation and the real light bulb happened when I started to embrace that little girl. I started to embrace my younger self that was so awkward and hateable. And I started realizing that she really wasn't that awkward and hateable at all. Instead of trying to distance myself from someone who didn't align with who I saw myself to be now, I started to embrace her and go, you know what? Like, you've been shamed and shoved aside and picked on and ridiculed and tortured and beat up and bullied and abused and used and exploited and made fun of your whole life. And instead of being embarrassed of you, like I have been most of my life, because that's what I was trained to do, I'm going to invite you to come hang out with me. And I'm going to hang out with you because I think you're cool. And I like you. And that whole family of ours, they might not like you, and they may have said all that shitty stuff to you over and over and over again. And that was like the anthem playing in your head your whole life. But guess what? I have new words for you. And I'm going to tell you how great you are and how proud I am of you, that you survived and that you did good things. And you're good enough. You're amazing. And
Yes.
That was when the transformation happened for me, you guys, when I started to embrace who I was. Even though I wasn't proud of all the things that had happened to me, I was proud of me for rising up and actually doing something with my life and caring enough about this community and other people. There's a two-parter here. At first, I cared so much about everybody else that I wanted to do something good. And when I started to embrace her and not shame her and be embarrassed of her way over here, when I started to actually care about me. And I had never done that before. I had never really cared about me, you guys. It's so hard to care about us. We're so used to being picked on and have horrible things happen to us. We're so used to people. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I would innocently come home from swim practice with my hair wet and my bathing suit's still on under my clothes and my eyelash is wet, and I got told by like my mom or my stepsisters or my stepdad, like, you look like a whore. Look at all that. What's all that makeup you have on your face? You look like a whore. And I was just like, I mean, I was like 13 years old. I mean, with no makeup on, just coming back from swim practice. And like, I'm like, why would they say that to me? I mean, I couldn't do anything right, you guys. And I wasn't proud of that either, but I started to just welcome that poor girl who got treated so horribly for so many years. And I just invited her to hang out with me. And I started to like her and to care enough about me that I wanted to move forward and to not try to distance myself from who I was for all those years. I was so horrifically awkward, socially inept. I didn't know how to act in social situations. I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to dress. I had the thrift shop clothing, unless it was a brand new outfit that I got bought for me so that I could get traipsed in somewhere and go out on dates with people. That was totally different. That makes it so much better. I had so much to be ashamed of, but when I stopped being ashamed of who I was and I started embracing it, because it wasn't like I chose. I didn't wake up every day going, how effed up can I possibly be today? Let's see, how socially awkward and inept can I be at life today? Yeah, that's the goal. Like, I didn't do that, you guys. That was forced upon me by my family unit. And it was probably forced upon them by their family and their family and their family and their family, but that's not my problem. I'm choosing to break the cycle. I'm choosing to move forward. I'm choosing to embrace that little girl that deserved a friend that had no one. And I just want to encourage you that it's possible. This all might sound like a whole bunch of woo-woo to you, and you're like, psh, Venus off the deep end. But I'm telling you, once you really, instead of separating yourself from the stuff that you're so ashamed of, if you just pause for a moment and try to invite that part of you to hang out with you, like you, awesome you, cool, amazing, compassionate you, the one that shows up here all the time, encouraging everybody else, the one who sends out all those awesome memes, the one who writes on that blog, encouraging every other person in the mental health community, the one that goes out there and shows up at school and teaches all those kids, the one who runs that company and makes all that money and takes care of her husband and does all of these things for everyone else. That you. Like, what about that little you that you've been ashamed of that's stuck over in the corner somewhere that is just, it's just sad to know how sad that little version of you is. Like, I'm telling you, it's transformational when you invite that person to really experience the awesomeness that is your life now and the difference you're making in this world. As you show up here, as you choose, you intentionally choose to show up here and watch these videos. You intentionally choose to show up on those Twitter chats. You intentionally choose to show up in those Facebook groups. You intentionally purchased that ticket to go to that conference that we're having in November so that you could show up and you could learn and you could grow and you could support other people. And I'm sorry, but that makes you pretty amazing in my book. And I think that little version of you deserves a role model like that. So for me, that's when the hugest aha light bulb moment happened. That was the biggest transformational moment for me personally. I would love to hear your biggest transformational moment, Bobby, now that I'm going to step off my soapbox.
You know, I think besides the complex PTSD, you know, it had to be the things that it wasn't really my fault. You know, after having been indoctrinated so heavily into me as a child that it was my fault, you know, and then having my experience within the church echo that so strongly. I think connecting with other people who could confirm with me that it wasn't my fault. And then the very first really good therapist that I worked with, who taught me how to love myself because she loved me. Realizing that I was lovable and being able to own that was probably the most transformational thing that ever happened to me in my therapeutic journey. And I think that for some survivors, we have to have someone else love us first before we can figure out how to love ourselves. You know, people used to tell me, you know, no one's ever going to love you until you learn to love yourself. It's like, well, that'd be great, but I don't know how to do that. I never got taught that. I know how to hate myself. I'm real good at that. And so once she showed me how that worked, you know, how you love yourself, then I could do it. And that was the most transformative moment in my therapy journey, was figuring out that I mattered and I was important and I was lovable, despite all those messages from my youth and my early 20s. So I would love for everybody out there to have that light bulb, to realize that you're lovable just as you are. You don't have to change a thing, nothing, no change required. Even if you never make one more step forward in your recovery, you're lovable now. So think about that and see if maybe that might be a light bulb you could embrace. Do you think it's okay to go on to the one page, Miss Athena?
Yeah, I think that's a light bulb moment for all of us. I think every single one of us need to know that we're lovable and that we're worthy of kindness. And I'm so glad that you said that. So I'm going to receive that and tuck it away for a rainy day when I need that. And yes, let's definitely go on to our one page now. And just thank you guys so much for being here. We're honored that you have spent this hour with us. And we're going to quickly move through our one-page content, and then we're going to welcome some new people and let people know how to get in touch with us.
Okay. So let's look at the one page. And again, this is available if you go to our website, nomoreshameproject.com, and there's a tab that says downloadables. And if you click on that, you will have access to all of our downloadable one pages that we have done since we started this journey in August of 2014. So we're coming up here on our 2-year anniversary. So they're all there. You're welcome to download them all. Pick and choose what you'd like. Keep them tucked away for when you need them, because they are on a wide variety of subjects. But tonight we're talking about light bulb and aha moments. So I'm going to go through the one page here, and then I'll check and see if anybody had any questions before we go on to the rest of the evening. So one of the most difficult aspects of recovery is that, unlike many other medical conditions, there isn't a standard roadmap that we can look at to see what our journey will look like and what the end result will be. When we break a leg playing a sport, we know what to expect. But recovery from childhood abuse is much more complex and multifaceted. And unfortunately, much is still unknown about the effects of our abuse and how the recovery process even works. All of these unknowns can leave us feeling as though we're expected to assemble a jigsaw puzzle without knowing the finished image. We're left hunting for patterns or particular kinds of pieces with a great deal of confusion. Sometimes, though, we find that one puzzle piece which makes a whole section of the puzzle make sense to us. We finally know the animal in the left corner is a dog, not a cat, a llama, or a horse, like maybe we've guessed. This is a great visual example of how we feel in our recovery. We call those instances when we find that one critical piece a light bulb or aha moment. It is during these moments we can assemble a chunk of our recovery puzzle and gain the perspective to persevere, and things feel like they have literally fallen into place as a result of that one moment in time. And it's funny because I tell people that, I have a penchant for being impatient in my recovery journey. And there were times that I couldn't find the puzzle piece I wanted. So I took one and I ripped the tabs off or bend something forward so it fit in that spot, which of course then messed everything up. And I'd eventually have to go back and tear out the puzzle pieces that I'd tried to fit when they didn't. So I love that analogy, because to me it's so good for helping us understand why recovery is so hard and why some pieces of information are just flat out revealing for us and help us understand things. For example, we realize our difficulty concentrating is not a personal weakness, but is due to depression or damage to our executive functioning as a result of our child abuse. Suddenly, we know we aren't innately flawed, and our difficulty is both common and not our fault. Those aha moments can be so powerful. They can change the direction of our recovery, get us out of a place where we are stuck, or relieve us of a huge burden we've been carrying around while trying to make our journey. These moments play a pivotal role and are catalysts for big breakthroughs. So then Athena and I put together, and many were shared this morning in our Twitter chat. So these are the most common light bulb moments survivors just like you have shared with us. And the first one is that we aren't alone. There are thousands of survivors out there like us. And I promise you, even if there's not someone out there, and I know we have a tendency in our minds to go, but nobody went through exactly what I went through, or nobody feels exactly like I do. And you're right. You know, no one has had your exact experience, but I promise you that there are hundreds of survivors out there who have a feeling like what you have felt. And the second one is the abuse wasn't our fault. We were innocent children, not complicit participants. Okay? Since we were children when the abuse happened, we cannot judge ourselves with an adult mind and expectations. And this is something that I go over and over again with my clients, because they tend to look back at their childhood and go, well, why didn't I do A? Why didn't I do B? If I had just done C, everything would have been fine. But we have to remember that we cannot use our adult mind to judge the actions of a child. They don't have the experience that you have now. They don't have the brain development that you have now. The brain doesn't even completely develop until the early to mid-20s. So we cannot judge that small child as an adult in who we are now. We have to let that go. Reading through the symptoms of complex post-traumatic stress disorder and realizing all of the things we had been told were bad about us and possibly that we believed about ourselves are explainable and a result of our childhood abuse. It's natural and understandable for us to love our abuser, especially if they were a family member, while still feeling angry and upset about how they willfully chose to abuse or exploit us. And I find myself repeatedly giving the survivors I work with permission to still love their father, their mother, their brother, their aunt, their uncle, their grandfather. That's okay. They don't have to let go of that in order to heal. And that you can hold a love for someone and anger or disappointment or whatever adjective it might be in the other hand about the way that they treated us. And the same goes with enablers. We can love the parent that looked the other way, yet still be angry about how they behaved. And the next bullet point, our abuse really did happen. We aren't making it up. We had people share that in chat this morning. I've been there myself. I think it's one of the very first stages of recovery when we are, when we have a few memories, but maybe not the whole picture, or we don't have any family members that will validate our experience. That one of the first reactions is typically, I must have made this up. This can't possibly have really happened. And the next one, the world will not come crashing down if we share with safe people about our abuse. And one of our community members shared that one with us this morning, and she's right. We have grown up to believe, and we may have even been told by our abuser, that horrible things would happen if we talked. And we are absolutely not telling you to go out and broadcast what happened to you to the world. But it is absolutely okay for you to share with safe people. And you can broadcast to the world when you're ready. But to start with, we encourage you to share with safe people, and you will find that the world will not come crashing down. Getting rid of toxic people in our life doesn't mean we'll be alone. The truth is, we'll then attract healthy people and have healthy relationships. And I can identify with this. Maggie shared this morning in chat. I thought that too. I thought, well, I can't let go of my family members because then I'll have no one. I'll be alone. But the reality is that I'm not alone. And now I have healthy people in my life rather than toxic people. This next one is so important. Forgiveness does not mean we have to allow someone open and unfettered access to our lives. So just because you may choose, and we've talked about this before, and we'll say the same thing until our dying day, forgiveness is your choice. It's not required. You can forgive if you'd like, or you can not forgive. It's your choice. But just because we may choose to forgive someone doesn't mean that the door swings wide open and they get to come back into our life and, possibly harm us again. It simply means that we've forgiven what they did. They have to earn our trust again. If we even choose to remain in relationship with them, it's okay to forgive someone and not want to rebuild the relationship. And forgiveness does not equal reconciliation. The next one, recovery isn't linear. Oh my goodness. That's a huge aha moment when you realize finally that recovery is a cyclical journey. And just because you feel like you have stepped backwards, that doesn't make it so. You may be cycling through an issue that you have dealt with before, but now you're on a different level or working with a different piece of it. It doesn't mean that you have failed. And the last one is that there is no typical time frame for recovery, nor is there a typical recovery path. Nothing about recovery is typical. So don't let anybody tell you that you should have gotten over all of this years ago, because that's just not true. You will get over it when you get over it. And no one has the right to bully you into telling you that there is a time frame.
Yeah, exactly. There's a great book called Getting Through What You Can't Get Past, or is it Getting Through What You Can't Get Over? Anyway,
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anita Agers-Brooks. Anita, A-N-I-T-A, Agers, A-G-E-R-S, Brooks, B-R-O-O-K-S. Anita Agers-Brooks. Great book. Tons of stories and practical application and just examples of getting through what you can't get over, what you can't get past. It's very well written. Highly recommend.
Yes, very wise.
Yes. So we're going to transition now into the portion of our broadcast when we say thank you so much to each and every one of you who are here every week with us. We are honored to be here with you always, and we appreciate you. And we love providing these free resources for you. This live Q&A, the Twitter chats, the downloadable resources. Please, if you haven't already, go over to one of our websites or even click, maybe Harriet can do a little YouTube card here. You can click and go over to one of our websites and download tonight's downloadable resource titled Lightbulb and Aha Moments in Our Recovery Journey. It's a free gift for you, and we look forward to hopefully meeting you in person at our conference coming up in November in Orlando, Florida. And maybe Harriet, if you can put the link to the conference in one of the YouTube cards also, that would be amazing. But thank you for being here each and every week, you guys. You guys are awesome. And for those of you who are not plugged in to one of our online virtual safe support group, go ahead and stick around for another 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll let you know how you can get in touch with us and just welcome you in. Otherwise, just take whatever you like and go on your merry way for years and years and years, and come back if you ever want to get plugged into an awesome community, because we would love to have you. But there's no pressure, there's no multi-level, there's no Tupperware, there's no pyramid scheme.
No Ginsu knives.
No Ginsu knives. No, but wait, there's more. Like it's just free. Like there's nothing. We're not charging you anything. So like there's nothing weird. But if take what you like. But if you want to get plugged in with us, then by all means stick around, and we'll let you know how to get in touch with us right now on Bobby's screen share.
You bet. Let's put that up. Here we go. Connect with us. You'd really think I'd get faster at this after 2 years, eh?
I don't think that you ever need to arrive, Bobby. You are fast enough. You are enough.
There you go.
You are enough.
Fast enough. I'm fast enough. Okay. If you would like to contact us, you can do so by email. I am bobbylparish@gmail.com. Athena is at athenamobergspeaking@gmail.com. And jointly, you can reach us both at nomoreshameproject@gmail.com. We'd love to connect with you on Twitter. My handle is Bobby L. Parrish. Athena is Athena Moberg. And Trauma Recovery University is Trauma Recovery U. Capitals don't matter on Twitter, so you can do all caps or all lowercase if you like. You'll still find us. On Facebook, you can find our joint page, Trauma Recovery University. There's my business page, Bobby Parrish Coaching and Consulting. And then there is my personal page, Bobby Parrish. Athena has a business page at Athena Moberg Speaking, and her personal page is Dawn Athena Moberg. You can find our videos, Trauma Recovery University, on YouTube, Roku TV, or Google+. Just do a simple search and they will pop right up. You may also access the videos on our website 24/7, 365 days a week at bit.ly/Trauma Recovery U. And those capitals do matter. Bit.ly has so many people.
I'm going to change that. I'm going to make sure that we have all of them, that we own all of the upper lowers and the lowercase and whatever, just like I did with our conference, which, side note, we haven't done a screen share for it, but we have bit.ly TRUCon16, Trauma Recovery University Conference 2016. bit.ly TRUCON16 is a direct link to our conference website. So, but I'm going to make sure when we do the new screen shares coming up in the next season, Bobby, that we own all of it so that we don't have to worry about the capitals and all the other kind of stuff.
Yeah. That would be great.
Yeah.
oh my, that was way too close. All right.
My eyes are getting old, so
I know. Okay. Nope, wrong one. There we go. These are the ways that you could join our safe community. They are all free. They will always be free. We have 3 Twitter chats a week. The first is Monday. The hashtag is CSAQT, which stands for Child Sexual Abuse Question Time. That is at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Time, 6 o'clock in the UK. And then there is the one that if you're watching us live right now, you're participating in. It is our live video and Twitter chat combined. and that is at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, and Tuesday at 2 o'clock in the morning in the UK. And then Tuesday evening is the original Twitter chat, which started it all, that Rachel Thompson and I moderate, and that is hashtag Sex Abuse Chat. It is at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, and Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the morning in the UK. If you would like to join one of our support groups, we have this 4-stage process that we would really ask if you follow this, sending us emails or sending messages to our professional pages on Facebook or doing direct messages on Twitter is just much harder for us to get to you to help you in a timely manner. So we ask that you like the Trauma Recovery University page and then send friend requests to both Athena and I. And we ask that you send friend requests to both of us because we are in 2 very widely different time zones and with different schedules. So one of us is going to be able to get back to you sooner than the other. After we have accepted your friend request, then send a message saying, I'd like to heal in safe community, or I'd like to join one of your support groups, something along those lines. And then we will connect with you. If we don't know you, we're going to ask you a few questions, and that's just to make sure that you are safe and we're not letting predators into our community groups, because the safety of our adult survivors of child abuse is paramount to us. It's very important, and we do not want them exposed to people who are not safe. And again, bit.ly/trauma recovery U, 24/7, 365 resources and information available to you. And that's it.
Yay.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, well, did you have anything you wanted to say to everybody before we say goodbye?
No, I'm just so thankful that everyone was here, and we will see you again next Monday night. And hop on over to the Trauma Recovery University live.com page and check out the conference.
Yeah. Harriet, can you put up the YouTube card with the conference website? I think it's so awesome that you can just do that with me pointing right there, or maybe it's there. I can't remember. I think it's there, actually. You guys, we're so blessed and so grateful that you choose to hang out here with us for an hour every single week. And we're just, if you're watching this video and it's the only time you ever get an opportunity to view anything or download anything or experience anything, we hope that we've added value to your recovery journey. That's our main goal. We love to be able to provide healthy, informed trauma recovery resources and support for you, the survivor community. That is our goal. We want to raise awareness. We want to eventually be able to prevent childhood sexual abuse. This is all a part of our huge goal that we have for Trauma Recovery University. So thank you for being the most important part of that goal. You here, the survivor, you are here with us. And we will see you next week. Every single Monday, live Q&A, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, or 2 a.m. on Tuesday morning Greenwich Mean Time. And we appreciate each and every one of you.